Well, welcome back. Welcome to the Further Faster podcast. I'm Joseph McClendon III, and I'll be your host, your guide, and maybe even your mentor for this next little while on this voyage of your journey to help you do exactly what the name of the show implies, and that is to go further, faster, help you become even more wealthy, healthy, happy, and financially abundant. I'm excited today to present to you another addition to something that I call the Secret Weapon series. I'm going to share with you some things that I've learned from my mentors and be able to share with other people as well to help them go further faster. You're going to absolutely love this. It's something called the 60-20-20 rule of further faster. So grab a pad and paper, get ready, and I'll be right back to help you go further faster. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. Again, I'm Joseph McClendon III, and you are listening to the Further Faster podcast to help you do just that, to help you go further faster. And today is part of the series that I call the Secret Weapon series. And what that means is throughout my life, I have had some amazing mentors, teachers, guides, and coaches that have shared a piece of their wisdom in their lives. And I utilize what they've shared with me to not only go further faster in my own life, but be able to share that with other people and teach, without exaggeration, millions and millions of other people to do the same. And so today I'm going to share with you something that in my personal belief, it is the foundation of success, period. And I say that because without it, and whether you know it or not, or whether people know it or not, they are doing this. And it is something that was introduced to me years ago in its simpler form. And I always say that everything evolves. You know, through time, there's always the conversation, argument, and debates about the theory or the reality of the theory of evolution, you know, whether man evolved from apes or so on and so forth. But one thing that people do not argue about, and that is that things do evolve. And so do processes and strategies with regard to helping us go further faster. And I say that because everybody has heard of the 80-20 rule. In case you haven't, the 80-20 rule of success says that 80% of success, or your achieving things, comes down to your psychology. Meaning, if you think you can, then you probably can. And if you've been around me at all with neuroencoding and everything, we know that our thoughts determine how we feel, and how we feel will determine what we do, and what we do will determine what we get. So obviously, if we are shifting our psychology in a way that is more conducive to make us feel and do more, then we're going to get more. We're going to be more successful. And that 20% is actually the mechanics of you actually doing something. And that is why we've seen so many times in our lives, and all of us have experienced that in ourselves, that when we first start something, we're excited about something, and we do pretty well. You know, sometimes people call it beginner's luck and those types of things. And that is because we believe we can in some way, we're excited about doing it, we think it's possible. But once things get hard, and our psychology changes, and then we don't do as much. So that 20% turns into, we think it has to be 80%, and it flips the switch, and we don't achieve as much. So just as things have evolved, I have evolved with my mentors and the experiences that I've had through life, have evolved the 80-20 rule to something that I call the 60-20-20 rule of further faster. Now, in case I didn't say it before, in case you haven't heard it before, that the question I always ask is, do you want what you want sooner rather than later? And the answer is always a resounding yes. And that doesn't take away from that, you know, you get to enjoy the process and be patient and all those things. It just means that if you have the ability to do it quicker, then why not do it, to be able to enjoy the spoils of your efforts? And so, having said that, whenever I look at any processes or anything like that, I always say to myself, okay, how can I utilize the neurosciences, meaning how we function as human beings? How can I use the neurosciences to expedite and be more effective in this? And so I want you to write this down. If you're taking notes, which if you're around me, I always encourage you to do so. And at the top of your page, write the 60-20-20 rule of further faster. And it goes like this. 60% of our achievement, 60% of our success, 60% of our effectiveness is our psychology. So it's still the bigger portion. It's still the bigger piece is our psychology. Now, to be clear, psychology in its simplest terms just simply means the thoughts that we have, the thoughts that we have, the beliefs that we have about ourselves, about other people, and about the world around us. And those beliefs support everything that we do. Said differently, if you think that there's something wrong with you or that you are lacking in any way, you're too short, you're too white, you're too black, you're too lazy, if any of those things, that's what you believe about yourself, then guess what? Those thoughts, remember, it's cascades down. Think, feel, do, have. Those thoughts will affect how you feel. And then how you feel will affect what you do or don't do. And then, of course, that will produce the results that you get. Evidence of that is what you have right now. Now, most people don't go to any length at all to kind of figure out and sit down and think about, what do I believe about myself? Because it is unconscious in nature. Most of us, our beliefs about ourselves have come through the experiences that we've had through time. The things that we grew up with. Maybe you had an encouraging parent or an encouraging coach or mentor along the way, or somebody that loved you so much that they instilled in you that you are the best and you're the greatest. And conversely, maybe you had an experience along the way where somebody said something terrible about you. Or you did something, you got up in front of the class and you tried to speak and you choked on your words and you didn't get it out and the kids made fun of you. And from that point on, you felt like, well, there's something wrong with me and I can never do this. And you developed a severe stage fright or fear of rejection. That is your belief in yourself. Now, that is the most important part of all of the three beliefs in ourselves, other people, in the world around us, because what we believe about ourselves will also transfer into what we believe about other people. Now, so I'm going to just use that as the foundation. That is your psychology. And again, if you've been around me at all, you know that your psychology can be shifted. You can shift your psychology. It is the tool or the process or the science of what we call neuroencoding, and that is the ability to program ourselves to automatically default to our best and most resourceful beliefs, behaviors, psychology, and results that we want to get. And so that is, again, part of what I call the neuroencoding process. We'll talk about that at another time. And you can also dig deeper into it if you want. But suffice to say that if 60% of our success comes down to our psychology, and all we have to do, easier said than done, is to adjust our psychology so that it fits the outcomes that we want, then obviously the greatest part about being a human being, as far as I'm concerned, is the ability to do something about it. Now, we're going to set that off to the side a second and just consider that what you think about yourself, other people in the world around you, is 60% of your success. And again, before I leave that, I want to go back and remind you that most of this is unconscious. We're not consciously saying, I am this, I am that. We've had it so much inside of us that it's just our beliefs about ourselves. But that's 60% of it. The other 20% is energy. Energy. Now hold your horses for a second, because when I say energy, I don't just mean get up and go energy and run around and having that enthusiasm about you. That is part of it. When I say energy, what I mean is the electricity that runs through your body. The electricity. And what I mean by that is this. We are electrical beings. Matter of fact, the spark of life is electric. As a matter of fact, when that spark goes away, you're dead. You're gone. You take a dirt nap, it's over. And so the more electricity that you have going through you, listen, you have enough electricity. You can generate enough electricity in your own body to light a light bulb. Matter of fact, that's how they test so many things, EKG machines and EGC machines and things like that, is they test the electrical current that's going through you. They'll hook electrodes up to you and they'll see the electrical impulses that are going through your brain. The higher the voltage that's going through you, the more energy that you have. The more energy that you have, not only to power yourself, but for your cells to regenerate, for everything to happen inside of your body. The more that you have, guess what? the more you are able to do more, the more that you have. Look, when you think about it, is this. Now, the energy goes both ways, because you can have a lot of energy when you're upset or you're afraid of something or you're scared of something. Your electricity is going on in that time, at that time as well. Now, obviously, when you're excited about something and you're hopeful about something and you're really looking forward to something and you have electricity going through you as well, both of those things cause us to take more action than when we don't. When we're laid out and we're Netflixing it or we're scrolling through our screen, unless something comes along and stimulates you, your electricity is really low. And guess what? You're not going to be doing much. And so you can see how that will tie into your level of success and your level of effectiveness, because you're not going to be doing much if you got low levels of electricity. But hold on. That, just like, and by the way, your electricity is going to come from, guess what? Your psychology. Your psychology, your consistent thoughts about yourself, other people in the world around you, whatever's going on inside of your head is going to give you more emotion, and that emotion can be registered as electricity, as energy. Now, the more of that you have, here's the greatest part about it as far as I'm concerned. And this is why I call this my secret weapon. And it has been something that I've been using since I read the book Think and Grow Rich years ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I just did what the book said. And lo and behold, stuff started to happen. Now, before I tell you what this is, it comes along with a little bit of a warning, and certainly not a disclaimer, but something I want to share with you to make sure that you hang on and listen all the way through to this that I'm about to share with you. And that is this. This I'm about to tell you is science. It's not unicorns and crystals and rainbows. This is science. I taught at the University of Southern California for several years, 7 years to be exact. And I taught to the engineering and management department of the college. Now, that department was, my students consisted of only maybe 20% undergrads, meaning people that were just out of high school or, between 18 and 25 years old. The rest of the classes consisted of people from the private sector, Jet Propulsion Laboratory and NASA and you name it. I mean, these men and women were literally rocket scientists. I'll be honest with you, there were times I go in that classroom and I think, what am I doing up here? These people are 10 times smarter than me. And so I share that with you because everything that I taught to them, of which I'm going to share with you here in a second as well, I had to prove. I had to come with empirical data and evidence that what I'm saying is absolutely true. And this was back in the day before there was YouTube and Google and all that stuff. So I had to do the hard research and bring it to them and show them research videos and things like that. Now, and I encourage you to take what I'm about to tell you and you go YouTube it and Google it and you'll see it for yourself. So having said that, I want you to understand, I want you to get that this is science that I'm telling you here. And I also want to say that this is not the laws of attraction. The laws of attraction are only part of what I'm about to talk about here, but I don't want you to get caught up in that as well. But it's a very, very real thing. And that is the other 20% is what I call magnetism. Magnetism. So 60% psychology, 20% energy, and 20% magnetism. Now let's back up for a second. Everything on this planet is a magnet of some sort. What do I mean by that? When I say everything, I mean everything, even including the biggest thing on the planet that you have. Now, if you're watching me on video, you're seeing me take an ink pen and I'm going to drop it. And guess what? This works 100% of the time, not some of the time, not most of the time, all of the time. When I let go of it, it goes to the ground. It is actually being pulled to the ground by something called gravity. And again, not to insult your intelligence, the truth of the matter is it's something that we all take for granted, that it's going to be there all the time, and it always is. But have you ever thought about where gravity comes from, what it is? It's just magnetism. It is the earth drawing and pulling any and everything to it. And I mean everything, not some things, not most things, everything. The air, the ink pens, the dog hair, the whatever, the lint, everything is being pulled to the center of the earth. It's being drawn in. Now, the earth is a big magnet. Evidenced of this, at the center of the earth, there's a big core of molten iron that's spinning. If you know anything about physics, you spin iron, guess what? It's going to create an electromagnetic field. Now, I won't go deeper into that because you can go check it out. That's what it is. But it's not just attracting steel to it. It's attracting everything to it. Why? Because here's the second fact. everything on the planet is made up of at least these three core elements: protons, neutrons, and wait for it, electrons, electricity. That holds everything together, every cell, every molecule. When you break it down to its smallest subatomic particles, that's what it is. And if the earth, which is made of everything, is made of those three things, and we are too, doesn't it make sense that at least part of us occupies and utilizes the same physics that the earth does? Said differently, that makes you a magnet as well, not just a piece of steel. Now, what I mean by that is this. People talk about the laws of attraction. I'm going to go back to that here for a second. The laws of attraction, which implies that if you think about something, that you can attract something to you. And I'm not saying that that's not true, because it is. If you think about something, we've all had that. We thought about something and bam, there it is. We've all been thinking about somebody and the phone rings and it's them. But it implies that you're attracting something to you, and that does work. But here's the clincher, and this is why this is so important. This magnetism part of it is because just because it's attracting towards you doesn't mean that you're going to do what it takes to make it happen. All of us have sabotage. All of us have procrastinated and hesitated and done those things. And that means our psychology is a bit out of whack. And when we do, it's just like taking that magnet and flipping it over. And when you flip a magnet over, it'll push another magnet away, which, by the way, what is attracted to a magnet is another magnet. So the best is another magnet. So the concept of magnetism is to not only magnetize yourself more and make yourself have more of that electromagnetic energy slash, as I said before, electricity that goes on inside of you, but also magnetize that which you seek and which you desire. Now, evidence of that is this. And again, I encourage you to go look up on YouTube and research this for yourself so that you get it. And let me give you an example. Have you ever been sitting in your car and you feel somebody looking at you, and you look over and sure enough, they're looking at you? Or you notice somebody else in another car, a couple lanes away or whatever. Your windows are rolled up, your music is blasting, and you look at that person and somehow they feel you and they catch you looking at them. Of course, it happens to all of us. And like I said before, have you ever been thinking about somebody, the phone rings and it's them? Well, here's the way that it works. We all have that electromagnetic energy that ebbs and wanes. And it grows, it increases and decreases, and it increases and decreases with, guess what? Your emotion. And guess what your emotion is fueled by? Your psychology. See how this works? And so when you put your attention and intention on somebody else, and I'm using somebody else as an example now, but it's synonymous with everything on the planet because that somebody else is made of electrons, protons, and neutrons, just like everything else. But we'll use the person because we've all had that experience. You put your attention and intention on that person. It's just curiosity. 4 things happen. Number 1, your electromagnetic energy field, your energy expands. It grows geometrically. The second thing that happens is that object or that person feels it. The third thing that happens is because they feel it, their electromagnetic energy grows. And then the fourth thing that happens is you become compelled, you become attracted towards each other. You both become magnets. Now, again, don't take my word for it. Go look it up. And so the point that I'm trying to make here that I want you to get is this, is that you have the ability to change your psychology, which will change your energy, which will change your electromagnetic energy that's going on. And when you focus, and there's other steps to it, by the way, something that I call the magnetic megapreneur. And that is that when you focus and you do the steps of placing your energy and your attention on what it is that you want, then those same 4 things happen. Number 1, your electromagnetic energy grows. Number 2, that which you seek or you desire, it feels it. And then the third thing that happens is it becomes more of an electromagnet. And the fourth thing is you become attracted to it. And you're not attracted to it, it's attracted to you. And you're like a magnet and you're moving towards each other. Now I'm going to take a break here in a second, but here's what I want you to know. I've taught this to many people. And you can go, we're going to leave some information in the description here so that you can go back and get some more information about neuroencoding and about electromagnetism and things like that. But the truth of the matter is this is something that I've used throughout my life, and it is my secret weapon. At the risk of sounding arrogant, I've been very, very successful across at least 5 different industries. First was real estate. I took a weekend course by a gentleman named Robert Allen, and he taught us how to buy houses for no money down. And I left that course after 1 weekend and bought 26 houses in less than a year and a half's time. Now, it wasn't because I'm so smart. It was because I had the 60-20-20, and I didn't even know what I was doing back then. Next, I wanted to be a musician. Some of you know me, I was a musician. And by the way, out of 300 people that were in that class, I was the only person that did it. Next, I got a recording contract with CBS Records back in the 90s. In 1990 to be exact. And the amount of people who get a recording contract is super, super small. Next, I wanted to create residual income, so I did it in network marketing. The name of the company is not important, but I did that and created a 6-figure residual income, and that company still pays me to this day, and I've been retired for them almost 11 years. Next, I wanted to be an author. My very first book was a New York Times best-selling book. And then lastly, doing what I do now as a neuroencoding specialist and speaker and all those things, I've always operated in the upper 3 to 5%. That's called a megapreneur. And I say that not to brag or to boast, but to let you know that every single time I use this process, the exact same process. So I'm going to take a break for a second. I'll be right back and I'll share with you a little bit more. I can learn more about it. So sit tight, grab yourself a glass of water, whatever. I'll be right back with you. Hey, I get asked a lot of questions all the time, whether it's something, online, whether social media or face-to-face. And the question I've been asked a lot lately is, Joseph, when are you going to do something live again? Because I haven't done anything live in some time. And so my team and I sat down and thought about it. So we put together an event. And I'm happy to announce to you that on October the 29th, through the 30th, 2022, in Las Vegas, Nevada, we're doing a live event called the Further Faster Conference. And this conference is going to be centered around your finances, how to make more money, said differently. Now, obviously, we talk about wealthy, being healthy, happy, and financially abundant, but this one's going to be around that because that is a subject that people should be talking about and doing something about right now. I'm going to bring some amazing guests, some of my mentors that are going to give you some of their wisdom as well as I'm going to teach you my signature methodology of putting $1 million in your pocket in 10 years or less. It'll blow you away. It is absolutely doable for everybody. So put that in your calendar, and more specifically, go to neuroencoding.com/FFC. It'll be in the description here. You'll be able to see it. Go there, get your questions answered. It's going to be a small, intimate event. So it's first come, first served. It will sell out. And I look forward to seeing you in there. And remember, life is exactly what you dare to make it. Fortune favors the bold. Boldly step up, and I'll see you in Las Vegas.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Fenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Fenix Productions.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to Further Faster. And I'm not going to apologize if your head has exploded. I hope it has. I hope you're having an aha moment, at least a moment that, well, wait a minute, maybe there's something else to this. This whole magnetism, this whole 60-20-20 rule. And so I encourage you, yes, stay curious. And again, I always encourage you to do these 2 things. Number 1, don't take my word for it. Go do your research, get your own research and check it out. And number 2, as I'm going to here in a second, I'm not going to just give you some information. I'm going to give you something to do so that you can get some of the results that we have here. And so before I do, I want to ask you this. Have you ever known somebody that the ball seems to always bounce in their favor? They seem luckier than the rest of us. Things happen, or you hear the stories of, and maybe I know you've been that person, a few times in your life. We all have. the soccer mom who while raising her 4 kids as a single mother goes out and starts a business, and that business thrives, $1 million business. Or like I said, somebody becomes a best-selling author first time out or something. Any of those things happen, but you notice that person tends to be luckier than most other people. And we even say things, listen, you were born under an angel or whatever. You got an angel looking over you or something like that. Well, I've been accused of that myself. And the truth of the matter is that we've all had our ups and downs and hardships in our lives. And I'm here to say that luck is manufactured. And what I mean by that is, you've heard these all saying that luck is when when opportunity meets preparation. And that's true as well. But what we do to prepare oftentimes is the stuff that's unseen. And what I mean by that is unseen forces. The unseen forces of magnetism is what I'm talking about right now. Knowingly or unknowingly, everybody that I know of that is at that highest level or higher level of success, and even including you, knowingly or unknowingly, does what I just said there. And what I mean by that is, you get excited about something, you put your attention and your intention on something, and stuff starts to happen. Now, a person that tends to have it happen more than the rest of us, they're just doing it more. Again, knowingly or unknowingly, that they get excited about it. And excitement is key, because excitement, just so you know, there are shortcuts to change your psychology. And what that, as I said before, your psychology is the foundation of all of these 3 things. And it's the biggest part of it. And what I'm trying to tell you is, you don't have to sit down and go dig so deep into the creations of your beliefs and so on and so forth. There's just a couple things that you can do to start to shift your psychology and make it so that it's not something that you're conscious of, and it starts to work unconsciously, and you neuro encode yourself so that you start to default to that automatically. Said differently, the honeybee does not know that it's pollinating flowers when it's flying around collecting nectar. It just is doing its deal, but it is inadvertently pollinating the flowers. We all remember the movies. There was an older one and there was a new one, Karate Kid, wax on and wax off. The kid didn't know that by polishing the cars or scrubbing the floor or putting on his jacket on the newest one, that he was actually learning the karate blocks and moves and punches. And so what I'm about to say to you, I want you to consider that it's the same concept. Just do it. And as you do it, then guess what? It starts to change inside of you. And in this case, it is just your psychology. Now, I want you to write this down. Step number 1, look where you want to go. Now, again, within our courses and things like that, we go into depth and you get more detail about this, of what to do and how to write it out and so on and so forth. Look where you want to go means know your outcome. When I read Think and Grow Rich, he called it definiteness of purpose. Know what you want. Because most people don't, they know what they don't want. When you ask people, what do you want? And they go, I don't want to be broke anymore. I don't want to be fat anymore. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I don't want to be in a bad relationship. I know you don't know. I know that's what you don't want, but what do you want? And as soon as you know what you want, it's just like putting your attention and intention on that person. You glow with energy. And what that means is, as soon as you look at something and you desire something, you go, I want that. Then guess what? The I is your psychology. Your I subconsciously says, I deserve it. I can have it on some level. You feel good when you dream about something, don't you? When you're excited about the possibility of something coming up. Well, in that moment, guess what's happening? That thing is moving towards you and you're moving towards it in some form or fashion, because your electromagnetic energy is growth. So number 1, look where you want to go. Know what you want. Step number 2, write it down. My saying is, what you write is what you invite. Now, without going into it, and again, there's more details when I get to talk to you more about it later, but you literally are creating a physical representation of what you want. And guess what? Now that thing is in the world, and it's a magnet. It's attracting what you want as well. Step number 3, get a plan of activity. Now listen very carefully. I didn't say get a plan of action. Action is great. Action is doing something once or twice or just a few times. But action is not what's going to produce results. Action produces minimal results, but activity is doing action over and over and over again till you get past your your outcome. And the other thing is the activity that I want you to do is just simply, this is the third step, if you will, is that I want you to, after you write it down, this is fourth step. I want you to review step number 2. And what that means is just go back several times a day. Remind yourself with your phone to read and get excited about what you want. Get excited about what you want. That's part of your activity, by the way, because your activity is obviously you got to get up off your butt and go do some things as well, because it's not think and grow rich. It's think and do and grow rich. So you got to get up and do those things. Those 4 steps, just do them. And I tell you, here's what's going to happen. Is something inside of you is going to start to shift. Do it for, like I said, 10 days. My thing is just do it for 10 days. Use your phone to remind you that, once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times a day to go, let me just read my outcomes, my goals, what I want. On or before this date, I will have in my possession this, and this, whether you believe it or not. Because what happens is repetition is the mother of what? Skill. And skill will teach you, you'll start to default to believing that. You'll dream it, you'll believe it, and you'll start to notice things happening around you. I know this is very, very quick, but if you just do those steps right there, very, very simply, and I encourage you to do some more research. Visit us at neuroencoding.com, or you can find me at I am Joseph McClendon on Instagram. And I got lots of resources for you there that you can go to. You can dig deeper. You can learn about more of this stuff. And again, do your own research. Go check this out. Add to it. There are a lot of people out there that are talking about the laws of attraction, if you will. And by the way, the laws of attraction are only one of the 21 immutable laws of magnetism. There's so much more I'd love to share with you. And I don't hope, but I know you're going to take what I've shared with you and share it with somebody else. And what I mean by that is this. What changed my life in the very beginning, because I was homeless once in my life, was somebody came along and they gave me that book. They gave me the book, Think and Grow Rich. And they actually tricked me into reading the book, and it changed my life. When I read the book, it changed everything. And I'm going to tell you, that was the impetus or the beginning of the whole understanding of utilizing my resources that I have, that every single human being has, to influence the world around, to bring into my life the situations, circumstances, and even material things that I desired. When I got a hold of that, I use it with everything. And now I'm no different than you. If I can do it, you can do it as well. My personal belief is that we all have the ability to impact the universe, the world around us, your environment, to bring into our lives and to bring us towards it the situations, circumstances, material things, and even people that are going to assist you in achieving what you want. And so it's all about using it, finding it, using it, and continuing to use it over and over again. So having said that, I'm Joseph McClendon III. This has been the Further Faster podcast. I encourage you to continue to step forward. And I didn't finish saying this, that when that gentleman gave me that book and I went back to him and I said, listen, you've changed my life. How do I repay you? What he said to me was, Joseph, how you repay me is you do the same thing for as many people as you possibly can for the rest of your life. And so that's why I do what I do right now. And as noble as it sounds, I would love that you do the same thing. You don't have to give me credit for it. I want you to be successful. I want you to be wealthy, healthy, happy, and financially abundant. And as you do, pay it forward. Share it with somebody else. Hey, this is what I learned. You don't have to give me credit for it, but share it with other people, because the world needs more of us, more of that. Because those of us that dare to dream while the rest of the world is having a nightmare, you're not only going to create the abundance that you deserve and that you desire, but you're going to be a shining example for other people to do so as well, a possibility. And then lastly, remember, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold. So boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. I love you, and I'll see you at the top.
This podcast was a production of Angel Fenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Fenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Fenix Productions or its advertisers, and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.